Welcome to the Fantasy Dad Show, live on Facebook and Twitch, hosted by Ryan Rhino Kennedy, Kevin Giroux, and Seamus the Moose Anderson.
What's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? It's the Fantasy Dads here on a beautiful Tuesday night. Well, I guess not. It's a little
It's
rainy
dreary
today,
out
a
there,
little
man.
stormy. Yeah, it's
Dreary.
it just matches all of our expectations for our running backs out there for the most part. As usual, here with Kevin Giroux, aka Smirks Davis. How you doing
What's
tonight,
up?
buddy?
Fantastic. Yeah, we'll get into my poor fantasy performance in a little bit. So for now, I'm still all right.
Yeah, well, I completely understand that. This year has been rough, man. This year has been rough on me so far. I'm 11-10 overall, which is I mean 500, but it's not where I want to be, right? I think especially with the amount of time we put into this stuff, we want to be, winning every game, winning every matchup, which is just not the case this year. A lot of letdowns, and this happens every year, but for some reason it hurts more this year. Does it not hurt a little bit more this year?
Yeah, things have been a little strange right out of the gate. Guys you had really high expectations for just aren't getting it done. I think we panic too. We think if we fall to like 1-2, 0-3, we're gonna be all but eliminated, and it's just not the case. Especially with one more game going on this year to get in there. You can get in the playoffs in a lot of leagues at like 500, even like a game under. So sometimes you just got to relax. You got to trust your process. We're over here, we're grinding it, looking at this shit every day. So we just got to be confident in that. Maybe try to swing a couple trades. That's about it.
Yeah, a lot of trades coming out. I mean, I told you guys last week I traded Chris Godwin for Damian Harris. I was trying to fire sale my team, really, but that didn't end up happening. And funny enough, that team won this week when I probably shouldn't have. So it's interesting how weeks go and how everything can switch up on you. Definitely thought I was going to take a loss like for the rest of the season in that league, and I'm 1-2 there, and I'm 1-2 in like 3 other leagues. So it's the fucking way she goes, boys. So we'll get right into it. I guess we can kind of talk about week 3 and how it was. We can talk about which players were studs, and which ones just didn't have a great week. I guess. I mean, it's hard to evaluate some of these guys when they have literally done close to nothing. So yeah, anybody that sticks out in your mind, Kev, that
Oh,
had, good week,
absolutely.
bad week?
I have an entire team full of them. This will be easy. There's no problems here. First of all,
Start us off.
let's let it rip. So I was getting cute. A lot of the fantasy industry was really high on Justin Fields and his rushing ability, and thinking, I don't know, maybe he can make this team look somewhat relevant again. But that was quickly put to bed as soon as he stepped on the field. Yep, there you go, right. Appreciate that. He gave me 2 points. Love to see it. He couldn't get the ball out of his hands, bro. He took 9 sacks. I don't know, is that a record? It's probably not a record because the NFL's been around for a while, but it should be. That shit was terrible. Matt
Yeah, it was
Nagy
bad too.
should be fired, but I don't
Yep.
think Fields is ready either way. He was seeing ghosts out there, as we'll quote the great Sam Darnold with this one. Which leads me to the next guy, plays for the same team, Allen Robinson. Until they get something figured out with that O line, with the play calling, with the quarterback, putting him on my bench, dude. I have some other receivers that I think can give me a floor that he doesn't have right now. His floor is what he just did, man. 2 for 27. I don't think it can get worse than that. It's not going to get any worse than that. But the week before was 2 for 24. He was lucky enough to catch a touchdown. And I mean, he's getting targeted. It's just they're not getting him the ball accurately at all. That feels so bad for this guy because it's been his whole career. What a dumpster fire. Now, I'm actually going to go with Tyler Boyd and Marvin Jones over him this week. They're both playing on Thursday. I'll probably end up regretting it, and I'll be talking about this next Tuesday that I'm a fucking idiot again. But I love it. I love this shit, right, Moose? Get in there. Most likely, yeah. I don't know. They actually threw him the ball. He did something, bro. He scored a touchdown. He should have had 2. One fell off his hands. I think he's back. I think we were a little overreacting.
I don't know.
Sure.
I don't know if we were overreacting, but we certainly. I think we were acting appropriately. I mean, I think we still had hope for the guy. I don't think we told anybody to drop him or anything. I mean,
we didn't
just
say
last
drop.
week, yeah, no, just I mean on Sunday, Rhino had a great question. That was, do you actually trade super low for him? And that'll come to fruition, I think, a little bit later. But I mean, it's off to a good start. In regards to starting Ayuk over Allen Robinson, man, I do you have to is it to a point? I mean, because I'm starting Allen Robinson probably 100% of the time in that scenario, but
Well, let me ask you this:
yeah.
If Justin Fields is announced as a starter again, are you putting Robinson out there?
Yeah, and the reason being is because I don't think that Matt Nagy can actually keep his job if he lets his quarterback drop back 20 times and 13 of the times doesn't have more than 5-man protection. That kid needs max protection, if anything. So, I mean, we saw the Pats and the Saints this weekend. They were rushing 6 to 7 guys, every single time. So at least we tried to give him protection. It didn't really work, but nonetheless, if Matt Nagy continues to do it, it was Dan Orlovsky this morning and yesterday that ripped him apart, Matt Nagy, and it was well deserved because he's not protecting his quarterback, and it's 1, negligence, or 2, it's intentional. So I don't think that can happen again. So I think for that reason, I'd play Allen Robinson. Like, I can't trust that that's going to happen again. It may not look that great anyways because they're the fucking Bears. But yeah. Jordan Carlos with us. What's up, Jordo? He said, "What's up, boys? Week 3 had half my league looking like standard scoring." Yeah, yeah, that's pretty much how it went, buddy. Like, I'm in PPR leagues that I didn't get over like 105 points. It was an ugly. I mean, it was an ugly weekend. You know who is back?
Which one?
Ezekiel Elliott.
Elliott.
Back.
Yeah. They established the run.
Yeah, it was a joy to watch. I was just happy for him, man. I think he finally got the idea that there's some pressure behind him, and Tony Pollard. I think Tony Pollard would be a startable running back on most teams in the NFL.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I don't think there's
they need
shroud of doubt anymore. So
San Francisco needs to throw whatever they have at Dallas to go get him because he's so fast every time he hits the hole. I think he'd be perfect in that offense, doing like what Raheem Mostert does.
I actually don't mind that. Yeah, I don't mind that call at all. I mean, Zeke just looked like he was like trying. Did it not look like he was just like giving some effort? Because he hasn't been all year. I mean, in the rushing game, he's obviously getting better. He was a little bit better his second game. He still got 15.5 points in standard. And I mean, PPR, he was serviceable too. But to see him get over that, that 25 mark, like that's where we're looking for Zeke to be every single week, like over 22 points week in and week out. He had 17 attempts for 95 yards. 5.5 per, which is like that's the key. The 2 touchdowns obviously helped, and then he had 3 targets, 3 receptions for 21 yards. That's money. So if he can keep that up, man, like I don't think Zeke. I don't think anything is going to happen to Zeke. I don't think anybody should have to worry about Zeke. I mean, I'm certainly not. I don't own him on any teams. I don't have any Zeke stock, unfortunately, this year. I really wanted him, but um, I I just don't. Another guy I was happy to see play well this weekend was James Robinson, man.
Yeah, he looked like he did last year. That whole team they could have won that game. They go out and they make the Jaguar kind of mistakes. And Kyler Murray, he got it done when he had to, but like were the Cardinals just playing down this week? Is that what was going on? Because that was weird. That could have been a blow up spot.
Yeah, I don't really know what the frick happened with Kyler Murray this weekend. I think just having Nuck pretty hurt. It seemed like everyone
Yeah, he's
was
also
banged
on
up
my
besides
team.
Marvin Jones, but oh yeah, yeah, he
So
did absolutely nothing for anybody this week.
basically a decoy.
Yeah, yeah, trash. But yeah, a good day from from James Robinson. I was just glad to see him be at his potential again, like to really be getting the targets. He ran the ball real well, 5.9 yards per attempt. That's like that, again, money. That's where you want these guys to be. 6 targets, 6 receptions, 46 yards, and got 1 tutty. It definitely would have been nice to see him get one more, but you can only do so much. So 19.5 points is a fairly good day for him, man. I'll just read off the top 5 running backs for this week, though. Najee Harris, Kareem Hunt, Zeke, James Robinson, and Deandre Swift. At this point in the year, Kev, is Deandre Swift. Now we do have the fantasy leaders to the left of us on our screen on our overlay, and Deandre Swift is sitting there at 3 in PPR. At this point, he's like the clear steal of the draft. No, maybe Mike Williams, but like
Yeah,
as far as running backs
Mike
go, like it's got to be him.
Mike Williams and Swift. Some people probably got both of them. It's a little risky at the time, you would think. On Williams, at least. Swift was probably everyone was just because he's on a bad team doesn't mean he can't perform. I mean, the Panthers 2 years ago were not a good team. Christian McCaffrey is Christian McCaffrey, so it's obviously doable to be on a bad team, still be good at fantasy. And DeAndre Swift, a lot of people just let him slip through the cracks. I think he's probably like a top 6 or 7 running back the rest of the way.
I I don't see how he can't be.
Uh, it's the targets, and
And
Jamal Williams is still getting double-digit carries, and that might not continue the whole year either.
right, agreed. And too, we talked about it before the season. I had talked about it to friends. I had talked about it to you guys in our pregame shows. I feel so dumb for not getting a piece of DeAndre Swift because the one piece of convincing evidence I knew that he would have in his favor is that Anthony Lynn's his coordinator. Anthony Lynn, the previous coach for the Chargers, was I mean his whole entire game plan was running the ball and throwing the ball to the running back. so I just let that slip, and I just didn't trust it just because of his past, records as a head coach. I didn't trust it,
And
and
this guy, Moose, let me tell you this too. They had Keenan Allen and Mike Williams on those teams.
Yup.
You know who Jared Goff's got? Mr. Khalif Raymond and our favorite Quintez Cephas that we actually told people to pick up and start this week. A little upset about that. He had 1 target. Khalif Raymond had 10.
To be fair, I was not part of that.
Hey man,
I will take my small wins as I get them, but I did want Patrick over
that's good.
Cephas, but
Uh,
I don't know.
Crazy.
I wouldn't go dropping him yet, but Tyrell Williams is back in 2 weeks, so
No, you can drop
I don't know how
Cephas.
much.
You can drop anybody
Yeah.
on that team except Swift Williams and Hawkinson. I don't want anybody else.
Okay.
When the targets can fluctuate that much, when it'll be
Yeah.
Cephas getting 8 and then the next week he gets 1 and Khalif Raymond has 10, like I just don't want any part of that. I'll take Hawk or the running backs or nothing.
Okay. Yeah, I won't argue with
Don't
that.
even because you're not going to put that guy in your lineup, so just don't
No,
waste
you're
the
not.
bench spot.
No, you're not. And we're seeing the injuries pile up here. Rhino talked about those yesterday, so we won't bore you guys, but yeah, it's and we're seeing guys like Peyton Barber step up 23.5 points. Alexander Madison, what a handcuff. Like just unbelievable how well he played and how well he carried the load. Antonio Gibson still top 20, but we want to see more. Chris Carson, just behind him. I'm not even mad at, so I didn't play Clyde Edwards-Helaire anywhere, and I lost because of it. In one league, in one particular league, actually in 2 of my leagues, Kev, both my starting running backs scored less than the running backs I had on the bench.
That's brutal.
In 2 of my leagues, and I lost both of those by mere 10 points each. Give or take. So yeah, it's tough when you got a guy like, Joe Mixon, who's been the running back 1 on the year so far, getting 10 points, and then you got fucking Kyle Juszczyk, scoring more points than he does.
Kyle
It
Juszczyk was the starting running back for like half of that game, bro.
is un.
He was on Jimmy Garoppolo's left, lined up as a running back. And Trey Sermon was nowhere to be found until the second half, at least, and sometimes even after that. It was crazy.
Yeah, see, and Bobby DeCarlo's here too. The DeCarlo bros. Yeah, he said Kyler and D Hop did nothing for me. Yet he had his highest scoring week around 141 points. He had Swift and Najee. See, that's like that you can't make this shit up. Like you just can't. Like most people that had Kyler going, that had D Hop going, they lost. So Swift and Najee, I mean, good lord. That's quite the duo to have save your week, Bobby. So well done, my friend. Let me ask you this, Kev. Are you trading high? Like are you trading high for a dude like Deandre Swift? Like are you letting a bigger name go to go out and get him? Like I'm trying to think of like maybe big name wide receivers that I would let go to go and get him. I don't know. Would you, or would you just stay away from that for now? Like you still don't
I
trust
would
it.
probably trade Allen Robinson. No one's gonna take him now. I ain't
Yeah,
trading D
probably
Hop
not.
though. Not he's just hurt.
No.
There's
So you
definitely some
trading?
guys that I would
Are
be
you
willing to move.
are you trading Calvin Ridley for a guy like DeAndre Swift right now?
It's in
I think that's a good one.
like yeah, I would do that, but I need to see the rest of the roster.
That's fair. That's fair.
Like if I would end up having to start some bum in my wide receiver spot. Yeah, I mean, obviously, if you were making that trade, you probably had wide receiver depth and you didn't have running back depth. So yeah, I would probably make that deal
Yeah, like you had a
for
Cooper
sure.
Cup, a Mike Williams,
Right. If
Marvin
you
Jones
had
Jr.
that and you didn't have the kind of running back depth you liked, do that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I would too. Um, Great. Yeah, let's talk a little bit about wide receivers. You can see in our stream here, top 5 wide receivers on the year so far in PPR: Cooper Kupp, Mike Williams, Tyler Lockett, Adam Thielen, Devontae Adams. I mean, Cooper Kupp's just been absolutely amazing. At this point, Smirks, are we selling on Robert Woods? Are we waiting?
Oh, I'm full on
What are we
panic
doing?
mode. I don't think you pretty much have to bench him. Maybe you can sell him, but you're not going to get anything. He's like another Allen Robinson. It's really tough to try to trade someone who on the year has like less than 30 fantasy points. You know,
It is
and
not good.
he's a guy who's just every year a wide receiver too, but Stafford just not like it was, man. You got Deshaun Jackson 5 targets, Van Jefferson 6 targets, Higbee 5 targets. Ball's getting spread around a little bit more, and Kupp is the clear target down in the red zone.
Oh yeah.
Or Higbee. So I'm worried. I am worried for the rest of the season. Whereas, but if Robinson, as soon as they figure out a little bit of the play calling, quarterback situation, he's the number one guy. You know, so probably a little bit more concerned for Woods.
I'd have to agree. And I mean, when you see guys like Zach Pascal, KJ Osborne, I know it's only been 3 weeks, but when you see all these guys that are ahead of him, like it's just unfortunate because Robert Woods for years has had top 10 upside. You said wide receiver 2, that was a definite, but he had wide receiver 1 upside. I mean, up to where Keenan Allen is now. It's just upsetting to see. I would actually see, like, I want to say buy low on him, but now you got Deshaun Jackson getting the ball, dude. Speaking of which, are you willing, if you're in a deep league, are you willing to go get him just for the big play upside?
Probably not.
No.
Depends, man. It depends on 2 targets, 5 targets, but
I mean, 5 targets, but they were
something?
all downfield. Like they were.
Is that part of just that game plan against the Bucks, or is that something we're gonna see every week, where Deshaun's doing his old thing?
That's fair.
That's
Yeah,
what,
I
like,
think that's
I
fair.
just don't know. I think if he does it again next week, even if he doesn't connect on him, if he's looking his way again, at least 3 times, 4 times, I think he'd become a must add. But
Yeah.
D Jackson has
Okay.
been known to just have a game like that and then be gone, kind of like the
Yeah,
Sammy
it's true.
Watkins thing.
Yeah, no, that's definitely true. I mean, the wide receivers we have, I'll say the wide receivers we have on our waiver wire right now are Tim Patrick. He's the guy to go get. Hunter Renfro, because he's having himself a fairly good season right now, man. And I think it's going to continue. I still think, and I mentioned his name a couple of times before the season. I got him in a couple of best ball leagues with a last round pick because I was like, dude, this dude is always, I mean, he's always a favorite for Derek Carr. And if he's getting 9, 7, 6 targets all year long, like, I'm taking that. And they're gonna play teams where they have to throw the ball. I mean, their next 4 games are the Chargers, the Bears, the Broncos, and the Eagles. Like that, like they're gonna have to put the ball in the air to win those games. I think that's apparent, even though Peyton Barber had a freaking day. But yeah, Hunter Renfro is definitely a guy I think you can play him in flex, especially 2 flex leagues. If he's scoring over 11 points a week, like that's fairly solid, I think, for like a 2 flex league. Would you say?
Yeah, I would consider him in a 1 flex league in a full PPR for sure. He seems like between Waller, Ruggs finally getting it together. Renfrow in the slot. Bryan Edwards. It seems like we're finally unlocking what we've been missing from Derek Carr for what, 5 years, 6 years?
Yeah, since it was that 2016 season, wasn't it? When they like
He was
just absolutely went
wasn't
off.
he an MVP candidate that year? We haven't seen it since.
Yes, and that was the year, if I remember correctly, they went like 10-2 to start the year. Like, uh, it's looking like that is going to be the course right now. I think they have solid ball movement right now, and I think you should take advantage of it. So Hunter Renfrow is definitely a guy. He's 11% owned. That's insane. We have Nick Westbrook Akine here. Is that how you say his last name?
He's more of a, I think so. I would say Akine sounds about right. It would be him or Chester Rogers as like a speculative ad in a deep league.
Yeah.
We don't know how long AJ Brown's going to be out for. They don't have a tight end anymore, really. I mean, Jeff Swaim, I guess.
Jeff
I
Swain. Yeah,
ain't
for
worried
sure.
about
Like,
Jeff Swaim.
yeah,
So Julio Jones, and Julio could come up on the injury report anytime. So if Brown's going to miss 2-3 weeks with a hamstring strain, one of these guys is going to get funneled some targets or both. And like it was, Akine got the touchdown this week. Next week, probably Chester Rogers, but just keep an eye on that situation while AJ Brown is hurt. If one of them emerges as someone you could play every week.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about Rashad Bateman. We got to put him on the list, but he's back to practice. Rashad Bateman. He's French now. Whether he's really French or not.
We made him French, and yeah, he definitely should be owned. I mean, with what's happening with Hollywood Brown right now, I mean,
He'll be all right. Maybe he's got the yips.
Guess. I'm not saying to drop him or anything, but like that was not good. So yeah, definitely add Bateman. I think a lot of people who pay attention to shit, I think they do have him in IR. Like, I think that's one thing I always do within the first 2 weeks is look who was already on IR before the season started. Or just after the cutoff date, the 3-week cutoff date, not the the 6 or 8 weeks, whatever it is. So if you're anything like that, then you probably picked him up. But yeah, definitely worth an ad because that offense is,
they need
I think
they need the alpha. They need the
Yeah,
alpha, the Hollywood's beta. That's what they call it. Apparently in the fantasy industry. They need the alpha receiver.
Yeah, I just think they need another piece. And they're gonna get it with Rashad Bateman. I mean, he was highly touted coming out of college. I mean, I think a lot of these guys were like Elijah Moore and Terrace Marshall, who also had a fairly good week this week. Keep an eye on him too. But yeah, yep, I'm picking up Bateman anywhere I can. The next guy, T.Y. Hilton's going to come back. This one to me is probably a little bit more iffy. I think he had to be on here, right? Because I think people are going to pick him up, but I don't quite think I would use a waiver claim to go get him. I think I would wait to see if he clears waivers. What about you?
Pittman's been soaking up some targets right now. 12 in back-to-back games. He's going to be the number one still, I think. When Hilton comes back. Because he's getting old, man. Hasn't been quite the same player that he was like 6-7 years ago. Pittman's emerging, so yeah, I wouldn't exactly jump all over T.Y. Hilton until we kind of see if he's still sitting there in a couple of days.
Like, let's put it this way. I'm going to take a chance on Deshaun Jackson before I take a chance on T.Y. Hilton.
You got to remember who's playing quarterback.
Yeah.
He
Or
has
who's
not
not
looked
playing
good.
quarterback.
Hasn't been. I mean, could have been worse. Can always be worse, but Wentz does not look good. It doesn't seem like the Eagles were really the problem.
They weren't. Wentz has always been trash. I've been saying it for years. The dude just sucks. And he's an absolute baby. Uh, all right, then we got Christian Kirk. I think you just need to get a piece of this offense one way or another. I mean, it's tough. It's tough because we were excuse me, so high on Rondale Moore, this past week. But I mean, Christian Kirk in PPR right now is, the wide receiver 15 after 3 weeks, just ahead of CeeDee Lamb, DK Metcalf, Amari Cooper, Mike Evans, Terry McLaurin, D Hop, and I know those guys have had some rough weeks, D Hop especially, but like you got to get a piece of this offense one way or another. And I mean, caught 7 of 8 targets for 104 yards. Like, I mean, that's significant.
Yeah,
And I know. Oh, go ahead.
I'm not sure exactly how they figure out these PFF grades, but Christian Kirk's like fourth highest wide receiver in the PFF grade. He's got like a 90 or something like that.
That has a bunch of variables to it, right?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
time. What is it like? What's the goddamn word I'm looking for? Kev.
Oof.
Reach when you're away from somebody. God. All right.
Oh,
Whatever.
separation.
Yeah, separation.
Hey,
I
I
was like,
got
dude,
you,
help
dude.
me.
I got you. I
Help,
got you.
help me out. I'm losing my giblets right now. I stayed up way too late last night. Yeah, with separation, all those types of things, I think are probably included in those grades. But I mean, you got to think, dude. Like they played two crappy defenses, right? Like when they played Tennessee and Jacksonville, he went 24 points and then 17 and a half this past week against these tougher defenses coming up. The Rams, the Niners, the Browns. Like I mean, I guess he's a spot start, right? Like a flex start. I think you can go that way. I'm not quite sure if I would, but they're gonna have to throw the ball against those defenses. So,
Always.
it's
Kyler's
definitely
always going to throw the ball a million times.
yeah, yeah. It's just like what their offense does. But if you look into the future a little bit, I mean, his playoff weeks 15, 16, 17, he's got Detroit, Indy, and Dallas. Like, I know what we saw last night is a little bit different, but I mean, Kyler Murray's no Jalen Hurts. So and he ended up getting his anyways, but I mean that's a pretty
Oh yeah, he
spicy.
salvaged it.
Yeah, he salvaged it. Yeah, we could say that garbage time points. But which is crazy too because if you look to our left right here, quarterbacks in a PPR format, Jalen Hurts is number 4 on the year. And Tom Brady's number 2. That just amazes me. Um, yeah, I'm trying to think. So we also have in regards to running backs, I mean Chuba Hubbard. You got to go get him because CMC's just looking hurt, man. He's playing hurt. That hamstring went awfully quick this year. So that's worrisome. So I would go pick him up, right? Like, would you spend? I mean, depend. RB depth is everything, right? But
I think
I would
you got
say,
to, if he's available, which in a lot of my leagues he's not, because somebody, either the McCaffrey owner or someone else,
yeah,
scooped them up. If you have a top waiver claim, go get him because he's going to be a starting running back in an offense that will dump the ball off to him plenty of times. And then if McCaffrey, let's face it, man, he's not exactly durable these last 2 years. He comes back from this, hurts himself again. There you go. You got yourself a starting running back.
yeah, agreed. Peyton
Same with
Barber.
Madison.
Oh yeah, Madison. I mean, he should always be owned. But I mean, all these guys should be really like the really good cuffs, the guys that play in those offenses that you said, like you said, dump it off. Like and if you have a running back that's been hurt once, odds are he's probably gonna get hurt again at some point. It's just like how running backs work, in my opinion, and probably statistically and historically as well. We also have Peyton Barber. I mean, we talked a little bit about him earlier. Just absolutely ripped it up. No wonder John Gruden was so pumped about the guy. We were nervous about Drake, and we were like, I don't know why he likes why he likes Barber so much. Well, he must know something we don't. Because the dude was just running downhill all day.
That's probably the
Like,
best I've ever seen him look. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know how it took John Gruden to really unlock Peyton Barber, but there it was. I mean, this the same guy we saw go for what, like 5 carries, 6 yards, and 2 touchdowns in Washington.
yeah,
He looked like a capable back. Miami, I think, they're pretty bad against the run, but still, he looked good.
He looked real good.
And Drake looked poor. 8 for 24.
Yeah. So they probably spent too much money again.
Oh, I don't know what that contract was all about. That's just he had to have him because he's a Gruden grinder. He was like, I'm gonna throw this guy the money just because I like him. I like Kenyon Drake. I can hear him on the old Monday Night Football podcast talking about him.
Right. Yeah, he knocked on wood before I even asked him to. Yeah. So if you're in need of depth, Peyton Barber's a great option. And then we have a couple of QBs on here: Kirk Cousins and Derek Carr. Kirk Cousins 32% owned, Derek Carr's 50% owned now, which I found kind of surprising. No, like was that a little bit surprising to you?
A little bit, but I think it was that week 1 when he popped off for 430 yards against the Ravens. I think people kind of saw maybe where this could go, so they scooped him up right then. Or it could have been against the Steelers. I mean, either way, people have every week they've probably been realizing, all right, I got to dump a guy like Tannehill. I'll go get Derek Carr. He's doing much better. I got to go dump, whoever it was that they were using. If they were going to be a streaming quarterback team that year, they probably jumped all over Derek Carr after those 2 games, and it's looking like he'll actually sustain it this year. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Last year he burned me. I picked him up, and I was like, he had a juicy schedule at one part of the season, and he didn't exactly deliver. But this year things seem a little different, and he's torching the league right now.
Yeah, I mean he's the QB 9 on the year so far. Above guys like Russell Wilson, Justin Herbert, Dak Prescott, Tannehill. I mean, Aaron Rodgers he's just been. I mean, nothing. I mean, that one game, just the 3 points, just did it for me. But there's a lot of time to go in the season. There's a lot of time. These guys are going to get their numbers back. Tom Brady and sitting at the 2 right now is kind of incredible. It's just like the guy just keeps putting on, man. So, and we get to see him torch our our defense this week. Do you think Tom Brady finishes as like the QB1, like 1,000,000 points, and just like shatters every fantasy record ever known to man in the QB realm? Like that could very well happen. I don't know that it will.
Like
but
this year?
No.
Or
just this game.
Just this week?
Game
No. Bill won't let that happen. He won't let that happen. But are we going to lose spectacularly? Most likely. Yeah.
I figured too. We got to talk a little bit about that too, because we are Pats fans. I know we're a fantasy show, but most of our listeners are Pats fans. Most of them are from the New England area. So I'm going to the game this weekend. Because a good buddy of mine said he had, his ticket and he didn't want to go. And he's selling it at face value to me, and I'm absolutely the luckiest man on the planet. This type of shit just constantly happens to me, and I don't understand why. I don't know if it's some karma, or what have you, but I don't like. How do you think the fans are going to be like in terms of cheering, booing? Like what do you think is going to happen this weekend? I know we're a fantasy show, but we got to talk about this.
Well, we got to cheer, man. I would. I'm not going to boo them, man. He won us 6 rings. Greatest quarterback of all time. Are you gonna boo him?
No, absolutely
No,
not. I have way too much respect for the game,
exactly.
the integrity of the game, and I mean, like when he comes out, I'm gonna cheer. When
It's
he
gonna be
passes the record,
exciting.
wait, all right, we gotta have a. Do you want to have a beer bet on how and when he passes the
Immediately.
passing record?
The first drive.
Yeah, so I was thinking about it.
First drive,
The
bro.
first the first toss is gonna be like a
It'll be
40 a
yeah.
48-yard schling
He's gonna hit
to Tyler
Antonio
Johnson
Brown.
or Antonio Brown. It's gonna be like it's gonna happen in 2 throws. This is how it's gonna go. It's gonna be like from the 25, and he just absolutely hucks the ball to Antonio Brown or Tyler Johnson down the middle, right? And then Gronk to the end zone. 2 throws. That's it. First drive. That's how I have it
I
going down.
can
It's
see it. If Antonio Brown is back, it'll definitely be him on a long one, and then it'll be Gronk or Evans on for like a 20-yard strike. Yeah, they'll probably score in a hurry. I feel like this is probably the most motivated he's ever been. Like, how bad do you think he wants to just go out there and just dominate against Bill?
yeah, I mean he's probably absolutely salivating at this moment.
At the surface,
Um
what he always comes out of his mouth with is like, it's just we're just playing the Patriots. We're just the Buccaneers. We want to get a team win, but deep down, especially with all this shit he's been doing, all the commercials, he's a fucking egomaniac deep down, bro. We're seeing it now, and he is gonna just go out there and light it up.
yeah, it's gonna be ridiculous, and I'm really sorry, chat. My Facebook was just absolutely slow as hell and wasn't showing me any of your comments. So Alex, thanks for tuning in. We know you had a tough week with Kyler D Hop, and I believe that was our legacy league, right? So I don't think he was here for the A Rob talk. So he said, "What do I do with A Rob?" I hope you're still here, Alex. You I mean, you can't drop the guy. Um, you can't. I don't think you can bench him against the Lions. No, I think this
I
weekend's going
think
to
you
be
can.
different for
I think
him.
you can.
You can
It
like
depends on your other options. After what I've seen, man, especially if they go back to, I don't know. I know you said they can't let it happen again, but
they
I've
can't,
lost all
man.
faith, man.
They
I've
can't.
lost all faith in that organization, in that coach, in that O line. Even in, I don't think just, I don't know. He held the ball way too long. I don't know if it was just first start jitters, but Myles Garrett, maybe just that first sack, dude. Myles Garrett was just in his head, dude. It was all over from there. But he was definitely holding the ball too long. I know there was a lot of it was scheme. There were not enough designed runs, but he wasn't good either. Bottom
It
line.
was for me. It was just protection, dude. Like you can't have a rookie quarterback against one of the best D lines in the league not getting max pro. Like
Why
you
didn't they
just can't
roll him out? Why was there not more play action? Like what
because
were they doing, bro?
Matt Nagy is Gase 2.0. I've been saying it all year. Like he just didn't design any plays for Justin Fields. That's the reason he's going to go back to Andy Dalton. It's not because Andy Dalton's better. It's because he's not a good coach and he didn't prepare to play Justin Fields at all. That's what happened, man. Like you got to think about it. He had all off season to do this. He had all late spring and summer to come up with designed plays by a kid that absolutely torched it up in college. Like to me that in itself is fireable. Like just this weekend, like just fucking fire the guy because it's an absolute. I mean, it's an absolute joke. It just none of it will ever make sense to me, and I just think he's a horrible coach. I think it comes down to that, but it can't happen
Yeah.
again. I refuse.
Well, basically what I said earlier, if you're still listening, Alex, was I'm really considering playing both Tyler Boyd and Marvin Jones. I over Allen Robinson because I feel like they have a safer floor. just getting tired, especially if T. Higgins doesn't go on Thursday. And he's had a safe floor all year. But it depends on your other options and what kind of faith you have in the Bears having any kind of bounce back week.
Well, now that you say it like that,
I might have to just take a week off, man. Trying to relying on Allen Robinson in my lineup, and then he'll blow up, and I'll be talking about it, like I said, next week about how I'm a moron. But then I'll just put him right back in my lineup, and we'll see how it goes. But I don't feel like
Alex. Go ahead.
Is he there? Nah, it's cool.
Yeah, he's still here. Yeah. Can you still hear me?
Yeah. What were you gonna say?
Okay, all right. Well, Alex asks, is 50 Saint one of the fantasy dads? No, that's Dan Saint. He's my captain on my hockey squad. He's been watching and listening to the show for a while, Alex. How about this, Alex? You can just trade me Allen Robinson low. How about that? We'll work something out, buddy. I know you were looking
What a
for
deal.
some RB depth. Yeah, you can just trade him low to me, Alex. It'll all work out, buddy.
I would say
figure
maybe
something
another 2 weeks when they fire Matt Nagy. Maybe things will improve
out.
on the scheme end of it.
Oof.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, that's I mean, it's just unbelievable. I'm trying to think of like guys. Like I want you to answer who you would play above him, because I just don't I don't know. Like, you're probably playing like Cortland Sutton over him, right? Versus Baltimore.
Yeah.
Okay. You're playing Marvin Jones Jr. at Cincinnati. You're playing him over.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you playing Cole Beasley?
Sheesh.
Yeah, I'm going down the line. I'm about 15 spots.
Beasley's just different, bro. He
is so good.
He's just getting a reckless amount of targets.
Yeah. Well, he did last year. The only reason he dropped so low in ADP, and I explained this during our draft that was live, is because of the vaccine status. And
the Bills were on a mission last week.
Yeah.
I mean,
Josh Allen
they won they scored 40 points. They won by over 20. They were in control the whole way. He still threw the ball 43 times. They were on a mission. They weren't letting off the gas. So, I mean, he's going to throw the ball a ton.
Yeah. I mean, this matchup against Houston is juicy too. Man, they're just going to keep hucking the ball. Okay, last one. Would you play over Allen Robinson? Odell Beckham Jr.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
First game back, he 9 targets. First game back,
crazy.
He wasn't on the field for. I was pretty sure it was only 60-something%. Yeah. I think till something terrible happens to him again, because I just feel like that's how it's been every year since like 2016. Since they got on that boat, it's been all downhill.
It has.
But yeah, man, he looked good. He looked very good, and Cleveland's a good team this year. So
yeah, no, it's just interesting, man.
Beckham this week. This week for sure.
This week for sure against Minnesota. Okay.
I gotta see what the Bears do. How do you come back from that? What I want to know.
Frick if I know. Ryan Rhino's in the chat here. A-Rob bench trade if you can, don't drop. Yeah, yep, agree. How do we feel about McLaurin and Gibson? I mean, I think Rhino, I think we've been worried about McLaurin since Heineke, but like, I mean, 2 weeks ago it was better than it was, this past week. They have Atlanta this week, so like you're playing them, right? But
he'll blow up.
Also, yeah, he'll blow up. McLaurin also played. I mean, the 2 games he got 10 points in each. He played against Buffalo and the Chargers, who have been pretty good against the number 1. So I wouldn't be too worried. Plus, like, oh, dude, if you can trade for McLaurin right now, I'm telling you, go do it. His playoff schedule is I mean, he could be a top 5 receiver weeks 15 through 17 every single week. He's got Philly, Dallas, and Philly. Like, I would go out and get him as soon as possible. I would try to do it before this Atlanta game, to be honest, because after that he has a very tough schedule. So if you have the depth to go move for him, I would do it. How do you feel about McLaurin, Smirks?
He's great, man. He's great. He'll
You're
eat
not
this
worried
week
about him?
against Atlanta. I'm not super worried about him. Now you saw that even with Heineke at quarterback, he can deliver. On that Thursday game, I know it was the Giants, but that's what you're gonna have to expect. Is maybe if the team's got a top tier corner, he won't have a big game. That happens with a lot of receivers though. But I mean, a couple weeks they get to play the Chiefs. That defense has been terrible. They're gonna have to try to keep up. I think he'll have plenty of boom games in there. You just keep playing him every week. And
Okay.
Gibson kind of got bailed out this week on that long screen pass.
Yeah.
Saved his day. He ran for 30. But that was a tough defense. I still
Yeah.
think he's fine. He's still someone you have to play, and they need. At least it wasn't McKissick this week. McKissick wasn't in there getting all kinds of crazy targets and work that he didn't belong getting. So I think Gibson's fine. Feed him some more of those screen plays. Let him get out in space.
Yeah, I mean, I think Ron Rivera's offense just isn't going to target a guy like Antonio Gibson a lot. I mean, I think it was literally 1% of their targets went to the running back position last year. And McKissick was like a good play because of part of that 1%. You know what I mean? So I just don't think it's ever going to be designed that way for Antonio Gibson, though it should be. Um, yeah, I mean, Rhino said it perfectly during the game. He texted us after that one and said, "Hey, look at what happens when you have, good screens lined
Oh, that
up
was
for."
me. That was
Oh,
me.
that was you.
Yeah, I
Okay,
said,
yeah,
oh, you'll never guess what happens when you give your best player the ball. Oh, that's
yeah,
crazy. What a concept.
yeah. My bad. Yeah, my bad. So that was you. I mean, like it was just perfectly put. So, um, Alex said maybe have a trade opportunity for Gibson or Barkley. Which one should I go for?
Barkley.
Yeah, you probably have to go for Barkley. I think he's back. I think is it safe to say he's back?
He looked better. Not all the way there yet, but he was utilized more in the passing game, which is what he was really missing. He got into the end
Yeah.
zone. Still not a good offense, but neither is Washington. I think you got to go. I would take Barkley over Gibson rest of the season.
You would? Okay. And
And
then
what's up?
go ahead.
I was just gonna talk about Gibson for one more second. Like, I know I just said I'm fine with him, and you still starting him every week. But after people are just looking at fantasy points and see that he had a pretty good day this week, maybe you could swap him for Swift or someone. Probably wouldn't happen right now, but you could explore some kind of deals after he had a nice week. But I would still be content owning Gibson.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too. And back to Saquon real quick, Alex, if you're still with us, he does play the Saints this week. So you might want to just hold off one more week. You might be able to get him a little bit cheaper. I think they're going to have to throw the ball a lot this week against the Saints defense. Um, and I also I know I always go back to playoff schedule, and you guys probably are absolutely sick of it by now because like we're not even guaranteed playoffs. I know this. We know this. But he does have Philly and Chicago in the semifinal and finals week. So That's not ideal. But yeah, you probably still have to go get Saquon. He is probably going to cost you a little bit more though, just because of his name. It depends on who you're trading with. You definitely got to know. What would I give up for Barkley, Alex? That's a tough. That's a tough ask. I don't know. I don't know what I would give up for Barkley. Like,
I think I would.
I think you would have to. Yeah, I think you would have to. I think at this point, after I mean, the thing is that who does Barkley have behind him, right? Like who does he have? Where we saw J.D. McKissick literally take control of an entire game, which is nothing you like to see.
That's the
I would
thing.
say, yeah, as far as rankings goes, like I would probably have Saquon like maybe 2 spots above AG. It's not a whole lot. But yeah, I think rest of the season you have to make that move, especially because he's the guy on that offense. When it comes to running the ball, where Gibson, we've had some hurdles so far this season, and it's only week 3.
As long as he's healthy and they're not cutting back his workload, he's not going to get taken off the field in a 2-minute drill. Where Gibson, you don't know, they're just going to put the other guy in for whatever reason. Let him do his thing.
Yeah, Jordan said feels like I got to trade McLaurin or Gibson. Seems tough for them to produce the same game. Yeah, I don't think you have to. He also responded to himself and said, yeah, all right, buddy." So I don't know how serious you were about that, but yeah, you can. I think you can trade McLaurin and get some RB depth. Like if you're gonna trade one of them for something, that's probably what I would do. Is that what you would do, Kev?
Yeah.
I mean, depending on the roster you have, but I mean, just from like face value, like these running backs are going down, man. Like running back depth, running back depth, running back depth. Say that 8 times fast. We stress it every year. So, um, yeah, and then yeah, Alex said Damian Harris for Terry. Probably like I mean, like in all honesty, probably like a Kareem Hunt, maybe a James Robinson.
I'd want more than that.
I would too. I'd probably stretch for I don't know. I don't know how far like people would be willing to go. Like Zeke is probably like the cutoff at the 10. I, like maybe David Montgomery's like probably the highest you can go with it, I would say.
You might have to work some kind of 2-for-1.
I think you would have to, yeah,
Like a
or do a
straight
two
up, I
for.
don't know what kind of running back you can get for Terry McLaurin. I wouldn't want to sell McLaurin for a Kareem Hunt. But I do
No,
think
I don't think I would either.
I would rather have McLaurin than Gibson rest of the season.
Would you?
Like, I think I'm more confident in a PPR having McLaurin than I do Gibson. Because the team isn't very good.
No, they're not.
The defense is, I mean, maybe they'll figure it out, but
So you would trade
far
Gibson,
cry
but
from
like
what they were.
right. I guess my only thing is like I think you would still kind of go out and get the same thing for Gibson, right? Like you're not getting Joe Mixon, you're not getting Zeke, you're not getting Saquon, you're probably not even getting Jonathan Taylor. Who at this point I don't even know if I would trade Antonio Gibson for Jonathan Taylor. Like I don't think you could do that straight up. I don't think most people would do that. I don't even think people would give up an Austin Eckler for Antonio
Oh,
Gibson straight
no,
up.
no, never. Eckler's like top 5, man.
Yeah, I mean
I was sleeping
rest of
on him.
season ECR right now. ECR for anybody that doesn't know is expert consensus ranking. So it's like a pool of like 200 of the industry's experts, however you want to interpret that. And they pool all of the rankings in, and Austin Eckler's actually behind Antonio Gibson right now in that. I know that only means so much, but I'm just wondering what you could get that's better than Antonio Gibson.
I
If
think
you were to
people are
trade him.
still. What do they think is they're going to get out of Gibson that we haven't seen yet? To have Eckler behind him. The guy just caught 9 balls, 15 balls the last 2 weeks. Gibson hasn't caught 15 balls in the last 15 games? I mean, come on.
Yeah, I had it in standard. So give me a second. I'm gonna put it in PPR quick. Because we are coming to an end of our show here. Okay, no, so Austin Eckler's way above. I'm sorry, he's way above Antonio Gibson
All
in
right.
PPR.
That seemed a little
Yeah,
fishy.
okay, yeah, and his strength of schedule is incredible. All right, so yeah, for you're still looking at the same guys though. If you're looking for a one-on-one trade for a running back, I would go after Deandre Swift probably, but his the rest of his season isn't great. But if you can sell high on Swift, I would do that. Yeah, I don't know. Bobby DiCarlo said his brother was responding to me earlier. He offered Jamar Chase for Terry McLaurin. That's great. Brotherly love, I'm sure. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of trades going around. I got offered a trade today that I'm probably not going to take. Though I haven't responded yet. Anything else? Anything else we have? We have outstanding, Kev. I think we can bring the show to a slow end here.
Yeah, I think we covered a lot of the recap while we were just talking about players. So got the waivers in there. By the way, Jamar Chase for Terry McLaurin isn't not that crazy.
I don't think it's that crazy, but I don't. Do you think people are taking that trade? Are you taking that trade?
In Dynasty all day, but
Oh yeah. Well,
no,
yeah.
in redraft I'd probably rather have Terry, but Jamar Chase is the real deal. That they got a good. The team's probably better.
Yeah,
It's just a matter of they have other receivers on the team that will also catch the ball. That's probably the only difference is that Terry McLaurin is just going to eat targets right now.
Yeah, I think so too. Would you say though it's safe to say that Jamar Chase is top 20 rest of the season?
I think so, man. He's clearly got touchdown upside.
Yeah,
he has 4 in 3 games.
Yeah, if you're looking to trade Allen Robinson, that's definitely a guy I would go after. Him or Mike Williams would probably be my 2 preferred guys that you could probably squeeze out of that deal.
You'd probably be able to get Chase before you get Mike Williams now. Just after what he just did.
Yeah, that's a fact. Anybody you're specifically targeting in waivers tonight?
Hubbard, if he's available. In a league where I need a quarterback, I'm interested in Kirk Cousins a little bit. And this is gonna sound gross, but I'm going after Conklin, Magic Conch Shell, the caveman himself. Dude, I have Jonnu Smith. I can't do it anymore. I'm getting off that train. I'm getting off the Patriots train. I'm all set. 6 targets, he had 1 catch. I'm good with it. Hunter Henry's involved. I don't need that. I'll go I'll chase a little upside with Conklin. If that don't work out, I'll find somebody else.
That's fair. Out of any of the tight ends right now, I think I am definitely picking up Ertz wherever I can. Even with Goddard there. But yeah, I think that just about does it for us tonight, Kev. Thanks everybody for joining the show. Definitely like and share if you haven't already. It just gets our stuff out there, and we would really appreciate it. We're trying to bring you some good stuff here, so spread the news. Our next show will be Thursday, pregame show. Not sure who's going to be on yet, but we'll have that determined. Best of luck to everybody in your waivers tonight. Go on TikTok, go on Twitter, go on Instagram, find us at the Fantasy Dads. We're at the Fantasy Dads everywhere. Follow our stuff, share our stuff, like our stuff, comment, whatever you can do in your spare time to help us grow here. And that's all I got.
Yeah, man.